Welcome to Lineups and Lures, where the talk runs from the dugouts to drift boats. We're all about the games we play and the waters we fish, the stories, the rivalries, the moments that keep us coming back. If it happens under the lights or out on the water, we're in. This is Lineups and Lures. Well, the 2026 NFL Draft is in the books. I don't know a lot about these players, but what I'm reading, it seems like the Seahawks had a pretty good draft, considering they were trying to make some trades and whether acquiring picks, move up and down. Seems like the guys they picked up are pretty good players and are going to fill some immediate needs.
Yeah, Schneider definitely went with the immediate need process this year, at least early. No secret that he was trying to trade down in the draft, and I think, quite frankly, there was a lot of teams in the NFL that just weren't going to trade with him because, well, for instance, there was a trade made with Denver at number 31, and they probably could have got that same trade done at 32. But, no, it is what it is, and that's what happens when you're at the top of the mountain. So you're kind of just breaking through or going through the trades. The picks. Obviously, quarterback was not a position of need, anything that we were touching. Milroe's going to get a lot of snaps in the preseason, but Luck will be the backup on the depth chart with maybe, Wildcat-ish something with Milroe.
Kind of like we did last year for a little bit, one or two plays a game.
Although the end of the day is that Milroe didn't see the field the last 10 games of the year, and I don't really expect him to this year. Running back's a different story. So I have absolutely no problem with the pick. I think we may have been able to get it a little bit later, but you never know. The reality is that this is a running back room that I think is stacked. And when you look at the fact that I believe that Wilson and Kenny McIntosh will fight it out to be the day one RB1. And then I believe by the end of the season, you're going to see a two-headed monster that looks a lot like Zach Charbonnet and Jadarian Price.
Yeah.
And you'll see Holani in there as a specialist for, pick up a block, give a guy a blow. But don't get me wrong, between Price, Holani, Charbonnet, Wilson, and McIntosh, there's 5 running backs. Cam Akers has already been DFA'd, so he's done. And I wouldn't imagine Wright being on the roster. I don't know if he's eligible for practice squad, but they'll carry. Obviously, with Chardonnay starting on the bench and the injured reserve, there's your 4 running backs. So, I mean, looks like a great pick to me.
I don't mind the pick, and especially, McIntosh has always shown a ton of potential when he's healthy. He's just never been healthy,
and that's the one thing that I think you and I and other buddies I was talking about. Like, that could be a diamond in the rough there. So
yeah,
very happy with that. Wide receiver, obviously our pick there was Rashid Shaheed last year.
Yep.
I fully expect him to leapfrog Cooper Kupp during the season and become the number 2 guy, with Kupp doing all sorts of things. I believe Torrey Horton probably gets in the mix if he's healthy. And then we got our boy Jake Bobo in there. So wide receiver, once again, a lot of depth, a lot of special team play there also. Tight end, nothing really to do here. Loaded room. The line, this is a great pick here.
The Iowa offensive guard.
This is a pick that nobody talked about during the draft, and who's going to talk about a 5th round pick? But the fact that this draft was meant to be a very light draft, and the Seahawks have many compensatory picks in next year's draft due to losing the Boye Mafes, the Kenneth Walkers, etc.
Some coaches. I think they get picks for losing coaches too.
They might have got one for Kubiak. My point here is that for them to trade up and grab a guy, with the fact that they are bringing back their entire offensive line intact, they're bringing up 3 of their backups intact. This was basically to bring in competition at right guard with Anthony Bradford, which I think is fantastic. Both Bradford and the new guy can slide over and play the center position, which gives us, depth. It could work out to be one of those picks that, doesn't sound like a lot and saves you bacon somewhere down the line.
Yeah, but if I can take an offensive guard or offensive lineman out of Iowa, I'm probably taking that guy. Those are big old country boys, and they can push stuff around.
Yeah, the only concern there is sometimes because their line is so good, you're just not sure if they're the benefactors of a
Sure.
great line or individual depth. But
I don't know. You could say that all those years with Alabama and all those SEC schools, and those guys seem to turn out to be pretty good NFL players.
More often than not. On the defensive line, really not much to do. You got Williams and Murphy buttoning up the middle with Jaron Reed and the rookie Riley Mills, who look to be our core of the interior. And then on the outside, you got DeMarcus Lawrence, Nuwasu, Derek Hall, and Jared Ivey is a name that people should pay attention to. So, there's your inside and outside. There's your outside. And when you get to the inside linebackers, the combination of Jones, Thomas, and Tyrese Knight, those guys are all under 27 years old.
It's kind of a scary team.
And here's the funny thing. Now we're going to talk about the guys we actually drafted.
Yeah. Safety, cornerback.
Yeah. I mean, it's, we're going to see what goes on here with these guys and how quickly they put into a starting role. But, with Bud Clark and who was the other guy? The corner was
Julian Neal.
Neal, that's right. So essentially, you just took care of Kobe Bryant and Reek Wallett's departure with your draft picks. That's what you do.
Yep.
And you did it for a quarter of the price.
Yep.
Don't ever sleep on John Schneider.
No, I mean, if these guys pan out, once again, it's just brilliant moves on his part. Let the expensive guys walk. He knew what he could probably get in the second, third rounds, and he didn't stretch. He didn't trade up to go get him. He just took what was there, and we got some pretty good players coming in.
Well, the nice thing is, they may contribute from day one, but they don't have to contribute from day one. They're going to be able to, they're going to be in some pretty good DB rooms with those guys. And I am quietly confident about what's happening up there in Seattle, and I'm not ready for the summer to stop yet. We haven't even started it yet, but it's going to be a fun fall.
It's going to be a fun fall. So, schedule's not out yet.
Other than what? August
Well,
9th?
we know what day, opening day, right?
August 9th, right?
Yeah. Who do they play? Who do you think that they're going to schedule us to play on opening night?
Well, it should be New England.
You think?
Yeah.
Super Bowl, just straight up Super Bowl rematch?
Why not?
I mean, there's so much news going around New England right now. There's going to be a lot of hype on that game.
The other thing, depending upon if they got to be a little more careful with the schedule, would be Denver, because obviously the travel is a lot easier. I don't think you want to. Well, I mean, if you just want to fly the Rams up and get it over,
we can't do that because they're in Australia.
They're in Australia the next week.
Yeah, you're not doing that. It could be the Cardinals, but they got no quarterback, so that's not going to be a good game.
I think you go in AFC. I think you go in Denver or New England, and the NFL doesn't like to do things at half measures. And if you went with Denver or New England, that could well be a prelude to the Super Bowl again.
What about the Bears? That's a big NFC matchup.
You're a lot higher on the guy than I am. I still think he might be the third best quarterback in that division.
Well, that's fine, but look at how they've improved consistently over the years. Ben Johnson made a huge improvement in that offense. That's a good football team.
It is a good football team.
And they're not like they're old or this was a one-year thing. Like they're developing. So
here's my deal. Detroit's probably got 1 year left because they're about ready to go in salary cap purgatory. If they can keep that defense healthy, I would just like to see them stay healthy and see what comes out of that. Green Bay is Green Bay. They made some good moves themselves this offseason, and they are primed for a run. And unfortunately for the Bears, I think they're the third team in that division.
Well, all it takes is one injury or something to happen, and that can change. But all right, so you had to vote right now. You think it's going to be Patriots Seahawks on opening day?
Yeah, unless there's some fun. I would trade Denver and New England.
Or Denver.
And the only reason, obviously, geography is my deal there.
Actually, it looks like we're at Denver this year. So our home opponents are the Cardinals, which I don't think it's going to be Cardinals. Rams, Niners, not them because they play the next day.
Okay.
Cowboys, Giants, Chiefs, not going to be the Chiefs because no Patty Mahomes. Chargers, Bears, Patriots. So I could see Bears, NFC matchup.
Well, then it sounds like we're getting the Patriots.
Patriots, Super Bowl rematch. I mean, it should always be a Super Bowl rematch if it works out.
I mean, the end. Like I said, that's going to be a huge day for the NFL. You get the Mariners on a playoff run. I will probably go to that.
Well, I think we're going to go to both, aren't we?
Well, that's the plan. The old daily double, if you remember.
Yes. Well, draft is in the books. It's going to be a fun off season, and you know what we get to look forward to? Hard Knocks.
Well, yeah, I know it's going to be Seattle this year, but I got to tell you, I don't think I've watched Hard Knocks for like the last 2 years.
I haven't watched it as intently as I used to watch it.
That used to be absolute must-see TV.
Yes.
And
it's a little watered down.
Yeah.
Although you did really enjoy that New York Giants one.
Well, that was because, it was kind of the wheeling and dealing. It was
Yeah.
it was a fresh take. It was something that we hadn't seen. But, the whole, okay, let's focus on the quarterback in week 1. On week 2, let's focus on the good luck story. On week 3, okay, the boys start pushing and shoving and the fight breaks out. On game 4, they show the guy getting cut. And on game 5, they talk about the season, and that's Hard Knocks. That's been the same script for 20 years.
It is, but you got to be able to pick up some new vocabulary. I mean, the charcuterie board.
No, Kakuchi board.
The child please.
Child please was a good one.
There's
Child please was a good
it's entertaining.
one. Yeah.
I need to use that on an umpire at some point.
Well, I might beat you to it this summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I don't know if the Seahawks have really. I mean, they don't have. Now DK might have been the guy, but I don't think they got that guy. I think they're all pretty buttoned up guys.
Well, that's what you think, but then when you get the cameras in the locker room, you just never know what you might catch. So, yeah, it should be. It's a good off season so far, and just waiting for the September 9th kickoff. Get ready for the 2026 season at Portland Baseball Club. Whether you're looking to fine-tune your skills or stay sharp during the off-season, we've got the perfect training option for you. From individual private lessons to camps and monthly membership programs, PBC has everything you need to elevate your game this winter. Our personalized lessons offer one-on-one instruction from top-tier coaches, focusing on hitting, pitching, fielding, catching, and more. For those looking for group training, our camps and total player program provide intense skill-building sessions designed to keep players engaged and improving week after week. Looking for the all-inclusive plan? Our total player program gives you unlimited access to training sessions throughout the entire winter. No matter what age or skill level, Portland Baseball Club has a program to help you reach your goals this winter. Join us and take your game to new heights in 2026. Sign up today and get ahead of the competition. For more details, visit portlandbaseballclub.com. All right, let's get into some baseball. Mariners are playing some pretty good baseball right now.
I believe I told you not to panic.
Well, there's still some things to panic about.
Not really.
Well, Julio's not quite where he needs to be. Naylor's starting to come around, but not there. But right now, Cal's kind of carrying that offense a little bit.
Well, that's why he gets paid the big bucks.
It is. But not having Donovan in the lineup, and, there's some little pieces that you wish were there. Luke Raley's hitting really well right now. He's always been a streaky hitter. But they're starting to kind of win some games. They're putting up runs when they need to. They had a stinker Monday night in Minnesota. I mean, the field was wet. It was cold.
Didn't they have to play a doubleheader too?
No, it was single, but just cold, wet, windy. I mean, there was puddles in the outfield. I'm not.
Sounds like our college experience.
I'm not sure how somebody that's getting paid $20 million a year is going to be able to play on a warning track that is a puddle.
Yeah.
That's a little sketch for me, but
yeah,
they got the game in. Castillo struggled again. It's pitch count with him. He doesn't have any pitches to put anybody away. He keeps ending up at 30-something pitches after two.
So let's go.
Let's talk Castillo on this pitching rotation.
All right. Well,
because there's a guy in Double-A right now that is dominating Double-A baseball.
Are we talking about Mr. Anderson?
We are.
Okay.
And Bryce Miller is on his rehab starts right now. He's looking really good.
So look, here's my deal. At the end of the day, you're not winning any pennants in April. I would have no problem. One of the reasons I think that we went as deep as we did last year, in a strange twist of fate, and both of us talked about it, At some point, Kirby, Gilbert, Wu all spent a little time off the rotation last year. Not with major injuries, but little injuries. But at some point, they're out of the lineup for a month.
Yeah.
And in a strange twist of fate, it was almost like, well, they've thrown 40 innings less than where they would have been, and they were freaking sharp in the playoffs because they didn't carry that baggage.
Yep.
At the end of the day, let's be honest, our starting rotation is going to be some combination in the playoffs of Gilbert, Kirby, Wu, and the fourth player to be named later. And at this point, I'm not sure which the fourth player is, but it could be anyone from Hancock, Castillo, or potentially a guy down in Double-A, if you wanted to bring a lefty into the mix.
I think you need a lefty in the mix.
I'm not against that. I have no problem with this. But so like I'm saying, let's get some innings out of these guys. And potentially, I've said this for a number of years, and it's not that he hasn't been a good soldier. But at some point, someone's going to need an innings eater. And I think by June, July, he may be in a different uniform.
Yeah. So let's go with a 6-man rotation.
Okay.
Let's, like you said, last year we had Gilbert, Kirby missed some time with injuries, Wu at the end.
Yep.
Let's go 6-man rotation. Let's give them an extra day of rest.
Okay.
That limits their innings pitched just a little bit.
Okay.
And now they're fresher for the playoffs. It seems like a no-brainer.
You and I have discussed this a million times, and that is one way to slice it. I've even brought up the idea of, you know what? These guys should be starting spring training right now and have your AAA guys pitching in the big league, and to some extent maybe. Or, you got guys like a Castillo or potentially a Hancock that, although let's not forget, Emerson Hancock was a first-round draft pick just 4 or 5 years ago, and he was meant to be the ace of the staff.
Yes.
And quite frankly, he's kind of pitching like an ace of the staff right now. So, look, at this point, I think if I was running the big show, I'm not making a trade yet. There's no reason to. It's too early. You're going to wait to see a contender have a starter go down and need someone that could potentially pitch in, October. And they're going to come calling, and it's going to be like, well, you can't have any of the kids unless you're going to make me a stupid offer.
Yeah. But we're not going to pay for the other side of that offer because you're going to end up, are you saying a Pete Alonso or an Aaron Judge type deal?
I don't think we need that. I think we're going to need a piece, and whether that maybe we have a reliever that goes down and we need a piece in the bullpen, or maybe it's packaged up for something. Look, at the end of the day, Cole Young is really coming along at second base. Donovan is a spark plug. You got to put him in the lineup, and right now that's third base. We don't need a shortstop because we kind of got 2 of them right now. You paid Naylor. First, obviously, we don't need a catcher.
Yep.
Center field's taken care of. And a Rosarina and Rayleigh, and quite frankly, Canzone, between the 3 of them are hitting the stink out of the ball. You don't need a whole lot.
Yeah.
Now, if it was a situation where maybe it was the pitcher and one of those 3 corner outfielders for an all-star, maybe.
An all-star rental?
Depends.
I just don't see us putting out the money to go get a true all-star.
But we don't have to put out any more money when you take Castillo's contract off the list.
I guess that's true. You are kind of trading off some money, aren't you?
I mean, he's got to be pushing $30 million a year.
Yeah.
So, you throw him in a Raleigh who might. I'm not saying we should trade Raleigh, but one of those guys is getting paid $4 or $5 million a year.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you got. If that's an all-star at $35 million, you can get an all-star.
Well, that's what I think. I think you need Luke Rayleigh to keep hitting. Like, keep hitting, dude. Because one, if you slump or something, we can trade you if you're playing well. If you're not, you keep doing what you're doing. Like, there's our right fielder and our DH.
Well, the reality is, if he goes out and hits 270 with 25 home runs and 85 ribbies, you pay the man his money.
I mean, seeing as how right now he's hitting 270 with 5 home runs and 13 RBIs, that's a pretty good start 27 games into a season.
Yeah, you pay the man his money. So, look, I don't think there's a ton of maneuvering to be done this year. I mean, the offseason moves were phenomenal. The only thing that I think is available is if the right move came along for Randy, for Raleigh, for Canzone, it would have to be the right move. maybe it's Castillo and one of those guys. And I'm not willing to throw names out yet, but if the right deal came along.
Yeah. So you say it's too early to go make a trade. Is it too early to fire a manager? Because we had two pretty high-profile firings this week.
I think so the Red Sox one's easy to explain. The Phillies one
is it easy to explain?
It is, because they got bought by private equity. They're just cleaning house. They want to bring costs down, and they want to start again. That's what that is.
Of course.
It was there, and it was an excuse. It was a palatable excuse that they could put out there in the universe and not have everybody go, they're crazy. Oh, they're 10 games under 500. Oh, they started the season 10-20. You're going. That was just private equity clearing house. All right, let's move on to Philly. Man.
I mean, that's a really good baseball team. It is underperforming.
Well, but here's the other thing, and this is one thing that I will say till the cows come home. It's not a rookie team. It's a team full of veterans.
Which is part of the problem.
Yeah, yes and no. I sit there and go, I don't give a shit where they are. Just get me to 500 at the All-Star break, and then let the boys do their job.
Yeah.
It's not even May.
Yeah, but I mean, you're sitting there at 9-19 with the Mets. I mean, the Braves are 20-9. Like, they look like the real deal again. They're healthy. They got everything going.
You are a veteran team that just needs to make the playoffs.
Well, and the hard part is they just got Wheeler back, so they just got their ace. Like, you seem on the right track, but they are just not hitting, and sometimes it takes those aging guys a little bit longer to get going. Well,
I think it's on purpose. They're not trying to be ready April 1st. They're trying to make sure that, obviously they don't want to hit $150, but if, they're just trying to get loose. They're trying to get their bodies ready. They understand that this is a marathon, not a sprint. 160 of them, man, plus they played 15, 20 in the preseason, then they got to go play another 20. That's 200 games of baseball.
I know. I hear what you're saying, but they're 10.5 games back.
Doesn't matter.
30 games into a season.
You and I both know how when we're going to get past the All-Star break, team's going to go on a rough road trip and go 2 out of 10. Then you're going to face up with them against in league play, and before you know it, that 10 game spread is at 2.5 in a week. Happens all the time.
Oh, they're going to go on a run. I mean, it's inevitable. And like I said, they got their ace back, so they're trending in the right direction, but man, it seems a little early to be making managerial.
I'm with you. I think somebody laid on the big red button, and or you know what? One of the deals is when you've got owners that are billionaires, they can do whatever they want.
Well, and let's think about it this way: Cora said no. So you're telling me that you didn't go, oh, Cora got fired. Let's go get Cora and we'll bring him in.
Yeah, but you can make that phone call before you fire your guy.
That's what I'm saying. Did they not go and do the background work and go, hey, if the job became open with the Philadelphia Phillies, would you hypothetically take it?
So you and I spoke about this off the air. I think the answer is that I think he told him flat out, I'm getting paid $13 million whether I work or not the rest of the year.
Then why do you fire your manager?
Well, because I think they wanted to fire the manager regardless, and they had Donnie Baseball sitting on the bench.
True.
You don't got Donnie Baseball sitting on the bench that's won World Series as a manager and a player. That might be a different story.
Yeah, that's a big move this early in the season.
They had Donnie Baseball sitting on the bench, and that's why they got away with it. That's the only reason they did it this early.
Yeah.
Hey there, I'm Chad with Jackson Painting and Remodel, and if you're looking to give your home a fresh new look, you've come to the right place. Whether you need a bold new color for your living room or a fresh coat to brighten up your home's exterior, my team and I have got you covered. We specialize in both indoor and outdoor painting, using only the best materials to make sure your space looks amazing and stands the test of time. If you're ready to transform your home, visit jacksonpainting.com. I'd love to come by, chat about your ideas, and give you a free estimate. At Jackson Painting and Remodel, we don't just paint, we make your vision a reality. Again, visit jacksonpainting.com or call 503-620-2600.
What about some other surprising teams? Have you been following outside of the Mariners too much?
I really haven't because I've been busy working and, there's this whole freshman baseball season that's been killing my time.
Yep.
And then I've been watching a little college baseball.
Yeah, college baseball is always fun.
It's been a little early for me to really dive into the Mariners, but our team down in Corvallis is doing quite nicely just at the minute.
They are. You know, there's a little injury scare. We'll see how that all shakes out, but that pitching staff is exactly what we thought it was going to be. Starting pitching staff is exactly what we thought it was going to be. And the bullpen's starting to come around. Everyone's fallen into their roles, and I haven't got to see that closer in person yet, but it looks like they're saying TrackMan picks it up as a left-handed pitch because he's so far over the top.
Yeah.
And he's got that big flowing hair, just personality. That's what you need in a closer.
Really?
I think he looks a little bit crazy out there.
He's Mitch the Wild Thing, baby. No, Robles has obviously been a big pickup for the squad, and when you've got 12 saves and an ERA of 0.5, that typically lends to getting paid a little money at the next level.
Yeah, what year is he? Do you know?
I can give you that information in just a second here.
I feel like he was a JC transfer, but with that arm slot throwing 93, it's pretty impressive.
Mr. Robles is a senior, so he will not be coming back. He was a dirtbag last year.
Oh, okay.
And then he played for UNLV the year before that, so he has been a Vegas. He was a Rebel and then a dirtbag and now a Beaver.
Nice. Yeah, that was big because going into this season, I mean, you kind of thought that Jaeger coming from UW was going to be that guy, and then he really struggled in the beginning. So having somebody that's been able to take that over is, it just gives you a lot of confidence going into that.
I want to be clear, though, for a guy that you said has struggled, he's 5-1 in 27 innings with an ERA of 2. I would like to struggle with an ERA of 2.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes. So if that's struggling, I want to know what he looks like when he's good.
Well, when I say struggling, sometimes players struggle with the ninth inning, the pressure that comes along with that.
Well, there's a reason why certain guys get paid a lot of money to get those last 3 outs.
Yeah. But if I remember right, he did it at UW, and they had a really good season last year. So he's got experience in it. It just didn't click. But now you move a guy that has closing experience into a 7th, 8th inning role, that just makes your team that much better.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is when you're looking at these guys, your starting 3 guys are in place. Then you've got, between Robles is your back of the guy, and then you've got Wyatt, Queen, and Jaeger. I mean, Wyatt's been the setup guy or just the finisher after Dax on Friday nights. This pitching rotation, this pitching staff is stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's ridiculous. And being down there watching those guys, it's just like 96 mile an hour just keeps coming out of the bullpen. Oh, there's another guy with the 96 mile an hour and a hook.
Yep.
That pitching's going to get him a long way.
But that's what it takes to play at that level now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're right-handed and you're not probably 93, 94 and up, you're probably not getting a sniff. Even lefties, you better be 90.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world out there.
Yeah, so, I mean, look, pitching isn't the issue. I think the issue really is going to be, can somebody offensively really take the bull by the horns? And it's kind of had to be AJ so far this year. Tolt's had a few moments. And then we're starting to see the emergence of some kids. This Glasgow kid looks like he's the real deal. Vasquez at third base is having and quietly putting together a nice little season. And the guy that went from the penthouse to the outhouse here in the last few weeks is Josh Proctor. But I wouldn't rule him out getting back in the lineup at some point. He's going to be a baseball player.
Well, I think Mitch does a really good job in that staff of giving everyone opportunities. This isn't a roster like the 2018 roster where it was 1 through 9 was set every single game.
And they all got drafted.
But
what, 7 of them are playing in the bigs right now?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Kind of scary.
Yeah.
But see, you're kind of rotating around. You have your probably 6, 7 guys that are every single day, but being able to get all these guys opportunities, and then you get a guy like Glasgow who he got an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
He took advantage of it.
He did.
He took over first base, a position he had never played.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny because even though he's a shortstop, man, does he not know how to play first base sometimes. He's like sitting there over there going, but he's getting better.
It takes reps. And they got a guy over there that's played some first base on the coaching staff, and so he can teach him. But you just give those guys opportunities, and you just don't know who's gonna pop. And for him to pop like that, I mean, he's leading the team in average. He's second on the team in home runs. Like, it's pretty cool to see.
And the neat thing is, there has been at times where different guys have been the hot hand, and Mitch is not against running the hot hand. I mean, it was Proctor for a minute. Proctor goes and has kind of an O for the month. And Nyan Hayes comes out, and his very first game of getting a look goes 3 for 4. Now, it wasn't a pretty 3 for 4. I was at the game, but 3 for 4 is 3 for 4. And next thing you know, his batting average goes from 170 to 250, 260. And It's like, well, I guess he's back in the lineup.
Yep.
I mean, it's been a beat-down battle for the shortstop position. I mean, both of those guys have had a chance to lock it down. And yet, right now, it looks like Inge is back in the spot there. But, we'll see.
Well, it's everyone's going to be streaky. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So when you get to that postseason play, you just ride the hot hand.
The one thing two things I like to say. Bryce Hubbard has been the oak tree in that lineup. I think he himself would like to see a little bit more power in. I mean, I know he's leading the team in slugging, but for him, I think he would have liked to have seen a little bit more power. And maybe if he was protected in the lineup a little bit, that may have been the case. But he has been, from top to bottom, our most consistent guy in the lineup, and is one of the few guys that they do pitch around in the lineup.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would say that I think's been hard to watch, and he got an at-bat, I think, last weekend or 2 weekends ago, and the whole crowd was rooting for him. And that's our former first baseman. And the whole crowd stood up, and then he goes and strikes out looking, and you could just hear the collective moan in Goss.
Yeah.
And it was just like everybody was sitting there going, come on, man, get a hit.
It's kind of like when Joey Mount would come in.
Right.
Everyone was like, oh, we love you, man. Do something good.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, because look, at the end of the day, he's still tied. I think he's still tied for the team in lead in home runs. And he hasn't, but he's either home run or strikeout.
And he's still a really good defensive replacement.
He is.
He's going to get his time. And, who knows? A DH or Glasgow starts struggling. That's a pretty good veteran presence to have ready to go.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be a situation where I believe Mitch is going to give him some at-bats. Probably to start with, it'll only be left-handed pinch hit, against pinch hitting against left-handed pitching.
Yep.
But there's a guy that if he runs into a couple, could all of a sudden break out. And, I mean, that's a guy that could hit 10 home runs in a month. Really. He really could hit 10 homers in a month. And if they're going to make a run in Omaha, you're going to need a guy like that because, I mean, we had him penciled in the 4-hole to start the year. So... Yeah, Beaver baseball, man.
Let's also not forget that it's been a little bit chilly. Not as chilly as years past and not as wet and stuff, but when Goss heats up, that ball starts flying.
Well, this weekend, they're going to get an 8 at the front, and I think those cars parked behind the bullpen and batting cages in left center field might not want to park there this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not parking there for sure.
No.
Thanks for listening to Lineups and Lures. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to rate, like, and share the podcast. It helps us reach more fans, more anglers, and more stories worth telling. We'll see you next time, whether it's out on the field or out on the water.